movie begins inside a secret government laboratory where scientists are conducting dangerous experiments with invisibility technology. A tiny mouse is suddenly snatched and eaten by an invisible gorilla, proving the serum actually works. The mastermind behind the experiment is Sebastian Kane, a genius but arrogant scientist obsessed with pushing science beyond human limits. After countless failed attempts, Sebastian finally discovers a formula that can reverse invisibility, and the entire team celebrates what could become one of the greatest scientific breakthroughs in history. And before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to Great Animation Recaps so we can keep bringing you more insane movie recaps like this. The next day, the scientists prepare their invisible gorilla named Isabel for the reversal experiment. Even though the creature has become extremely aggressive from the serum, Sebastian refuses to slow down. The team injects the reversal formula directly into Isabel's bloodstream, and slowly her veins, organs, muscles, skin, and fur begin reappearing right before everyone's eyes. But the experiment suddenly turns terrifying when the gorilla suffers a violent heart attack and collapses on the operating table. The team panics as alarms scream through the laboratory, yet Sebastian refuses to accept failure and forces everyone to continue trying to revive her. After several desperate attempts, Isabel finally survives, and the entire team realizes the reversal serum actually works. That night, they celebrate at a fancy restaurant, but beneath the excitement lies growing tension between Sebastian and his ex-girlfriend Linda, who also works on the project. Sebastian tries rekindling their relationship, only to discover later that Linda is secretly dating his colleague Matthew. Even worse, Sebastian lies to the Pentagon about the success of the experiment because he wants complete control over the project. He decides the next test subject will be himself, despite the horrifying risks involved. On the day of the human experiment, Sebastian stares into the mirror knowing it may be the last time he ever sees his own face. Surrounded by nervous scientists, he injects the invisibility serum into his veins. At first, nothing happens, but suddenly unbearable pain tears through his entire body. His skin slowly disappears layer by layer until his muscles, organs, and skeleton become visible. Then even his bones vanish completely. Sebastian successfully becomes invisible, making history in the process. But the transformation nearly kills him, and the horrifying procedure leaves the entire team disturbed by what they have created. Hours later, Sebastian wakes up completely invisible and immediately begins enjoying his new power. At first, he jokes around with his colleagues, but little cracks in his personality quickly begin to show. He becomes arrogant, disrespectful, and increasingly unstable. During the night, while Dr. Sarah watches over him, Sebastian sneaks into her room and secretly touches her while invisible, terrifying her when she wakes up to find nobody there. The team becomes disturbed by his behavior, but they still believe everything will return to normal once they reverse the serum. Unfortunately, they are about to realize they have unleashed something far more dangerous than they imagined. The scientists attempt to make Sebastian visible again using the reversal serum, but the procedure goes horribly wrong. Sebastian suddenly develops monstrous strength, violently attacks the team, and nearly breaks free from the restraints holding him down. Moments later, he collapses unconscious, but when he wakes up, he is still invisible. Days pass as the scientists repeatedly fail to reverse the process. Trapped inside the laboratory and forced to hide from the world, Sebastian slowly begins losing his sanity. The isolation twists his mind further, and the invisible scientist starts enjoying the freedom his condition gives him. One night, Sebastian ignores all safety protocols and escapes the laboratory. He returns to his apartment and spies on his beautiful neighbor through the window before sneaking invisibly into her home. The terrified woman hears noises around her apartment but cannot see anyone. Suddenly, Sebastian attacks her in her own bedroom before later returning to the laboratory as if nothing happened. Linda becomes furious after discovering he escaped, but Sebastian coldly reminds everyone that he is the leader of the project and will do whatever he wants. At this point, the team finally realizes invisibility is changing him into something monstrous. As weeks pass, Sebastian becomes more aggressive and emotionally unstable. Matthew eventually develops a new formula that has a 95% chance of curing him, but even this attempt fails when the serum begins destroying Sebastian's blood cells. Furious and desperate, Sebastian secretly alters the security cameras in his room so the footage loops while he sneaks out unnoticed. He climbs into Linda's apartment through the fire escape and discovers her relationship with Matthew. Consumed with jealousy and rage, he smashes the bedroom window before fleeing into the night like a violent ghost no one can stop. Back at the laboratory, Sebastian completely loses control. One of the invisible dogs begins barking nonstop, and in a fit of rage, he brutally kills the poor animal. Sarah later discovers the dead dog and immediately suspects Sebastian, but without proof, the team can do nothing. Linda soon realizes Sebastian has also been secretly entering her apartment while invisible. Terrified by how dangerous he has become, Linda and Matthew decide they must expose everything to the Pentagon before Sebastian hurts more people. But Sebastian has already overheard their entire plan. Sebastian secretly follows Linda and Matthew to meet the leader of the government committee overseeing the project. The old man promises to contact the military for help, but before he can do anything, Sebastian cuts the phone line and enters the house invisibly. The terrified leader suddenly sees smoke taking the shape of Sebastian's invisible face before being thrown into the swimming pool. Sebastian brutally drowns the man underwater, eliminating the only person capable of shutting the project down. By now, the invisible scientist is no longer acting human at all. He has become a predator, hiding in plain sight. The next morning, Linda discovers the committee leader is dead and realizes Sebastian is now murdering anyone who threatens him. Worse still, the entire laboratory has been locked down. Sebastian changes all the access codes and traps everyone inside the facility with him. Knowing they may all die, Linda arms the remaining scientists with tranquilizer guns and infrared goggles so they can finally hunt the invisible killer. But Sebastian moves through the laboratory like a ghost, silently watching every move they make while preparing to eliminate them one by one. Before the search even begins properly, Sebastian attacks technician Janice and strangles her to death with a rope. The team later discovers her lifeless body hidden inside a closet, shocking everyone into panic. Sarah blames Linda for the nightmare they are trapped in, but Linda knows there is no time for fear anymore. Sebastian soon contacts them through the communicator and openly admits that he killed the committee leader. He warns the team that anyone who tries to expose him will die. At this moment, the scientists finally understand the terrifying truth. They are trapped underground with an invisible psychopath. Matthew and Carter begin searching the corridors using infrared goggles, while Linda tracks Sebastian through the security system. Suddenly, signs of body heat appear behind a pipe, and Matthew fires a dart only to realize Sebastian tricked them. In seconds, the invisible man attacks from nowhere, smashing Carter violently against a metal pipe. Steam bursts throughout the hallway, briefly revealing Sebastian's outline as he moves through the corridor like a monster hiding inside fog. Carter suffers a fatal injury, while Matthew desperately struggles to fight an enemy he cannot fully see. The battle inside the corridor becomes pure chaos as Sebastian uses the steam to confuse the infrared goggles. Matthew grabs a fire extinguisher and sprays the entire room, finally revealing Sebastian's invisible body for a split second. He attacks wildly, but Sebastian easily overpowers him with brutal punches and kicks before trapping him behind security gates. Linda eventually arrives in time to save Matthew, but meanwhile Sarah and Frank rush to help the dying Carter. The entire laboratory is descending into madness as Sebastian stalks them from the shadows like an unstoppable hunter. Sarah heads into the medical room searching for blood supplies, but Sebastian locks her inside with him. Realizing she cannot see him, Sarah throws bags of blood across the floor, hoping to reveal his footprints. For a moment it works, but Sebastian suddenly attacks her with savage force. She fights back desperately, throwing blood directly onto his invisible body and briefly exposing him. Yet Sebastian easily overpowers her. He steals the tranquilizer gun and kills Sarah in a horrifying confrontation before disappearing once again into the freezing darkness of the laboratory corridors. Frank desperately tries saving Carter, but the wounded scientist dies in his arms. Moments later, Linda and Matthew discover Sarah's frozen body hidden inside a freezer. While they attempt to revive her, Sebastian sneaks behind Frank and smashes him with a crowbar, killing him instantly. Matthew is seriously injured next, and Sebastian traps both him and Linda inside the freezer before lowering the temperature to deadly levels. As the freezing cold slowly closes in, Linda realizes they will both die unless she finds a way out immediately. Using pure intelligence and desperation, Linda creates a powerful magnet from electrical wires and medical equipment, eventually unlocking the freezer door seconds before freezing to death. Meanwhile, Sebastian prepares his final plan. He enters the experiment room and creates nitroglycerin explosives, powerful enough to destroy the entire laboratory. He places the chemicals inside a centrifuge with a timer, planning to erase all evidence of his crimes forever. But Sebastian does not realize Linda survived, and now she is coming for him with a tank filled with flammable liquid. Linda finally confronts Sebastian and turns the hose into a makeshift flamethrower, blasting fire directly onto the invisible man. Sebastian screams in agony as flames consume his body, briefly making his burned skin visible. Linda chases him relentlessly through the laboratory while activating the sprinkler system so the falling water reveals his outline. But despite being burned alive, Sebastian still refuses to die. He suddenly attacks Linda from behind, brutally beating her and slowly crushing the air out of her throat while she struggles helplessly against the invisible monster she once trusted. Just when Linda is about to die, Matthew appears behind Sebastian with a crowbar and smashes him in the head. The invisible man collapses, and the couple immediately tries escaping the laboratory before the explosives detonate. But Sebastian suddenly regains consciousness and launches one final attack. During the struggle, he accidentally crashes into an electrical box, electrocuting himself violently and partially revealing his body again. Believing he is finally dead, Linda and Matthew rush toward the emergency exit, only to discover the centrifuge is seconds away from exploding. With no time left to stop it, they climb desperately up the escape ladder while the entire underground laboratory erupts in a massive explosion beneath them. Fire tears through the structure, elevators collapse through the shaft, and debris crashes all around them as they struggle to survive the destruction. Just when it seems the nightmare is finally over, Sebastian suddenly appears alive one last time and grabs Linda on top of the damaged elevator. The unstable platform begins collapsing as the invisible scientist forces Linda into a horrifying final confrontation. Completely insane and burned beyond recognition, Sebastian demands a kiss from her in one final act of madness. Linda pretends to cooperate, but secretly grabs a live electrical cable before kicking the elevator loose. The massive structure crashes downward, with Sebastian trapped on it, finally killing the invisible man forever. Moments later, rescue teams arrive and pull Linda and Matthew to safety as the destroyed laboratory burns behind them. The nightmare created by the Hollow Man is finally over. If you enjoyed this recap, make sure to like the video, subscribe to Great Animation Recaps, turn on the notification bell so you never miss another epic movie recap, and comment below telling us what you would do if you suddenly became invisible.